The next part of your dance music production is going to be a chords track. Now this is going to add a little bit of texture to your song. At the moment we've got some quite hard sounds, the drums and the bass. We're going to add these chords to add something a little bit lighter, which will be really good when we're making things like a breakdown section, and we'll just add a little bit of kind of extra stuff to our song. If you haven't already done your drum part and your bass part, please go back to the previous tutorials and work through those to make sure you've got a nice working drums and bass. Then you'll be ready for the chords. So let's make a new track for the chords. We're going to press the new track button, which is the little plus button just up here. Don't select any instruments until you've done that, otherwise you will go over something you've already done. So plus button, and then you'll see this menu. We're going to choose software instrument, which is the one we chose before, and press create, and then you'll see it makes this new track. At the moment it's an electric piano, but let's choose a synthesizer. Those are those real electronic keyboard sounds which are so great with dance music. Now we're not actually going to use the track which says EDM chords. That might seem like it might work really well, but the chord track does some, when you play a single note it plays a full chord, and sometimes they're quite complicated and difficult to use. Better off to use, I like using ones from the pad menu. You can also use ones from the classic and various other things, but the pads menus have these really kind of like soft spacey sort of sounds which work really well when you are trying to make a breakdown. So I've chosen pad, and I'm going to choose one of these and see what they sound like. If I now, when I've chosen it, hold a key on the keyboard, like this one for example. There we go, I just held down a key on my piano keyboard that's connected to my computer, and you can see it's got this long sort of spacey sound. There's lots of different ones, so you can click around, see what they sound like, and choose one that you think might add a nice little bit of texture to your song. I'm going to go with this one that we found first actually. Now what can sound really good with these instruments is, rather than holding just a single note, holding a chord. Now a chord, remember, is more than one note at the same time, so it might be, for example, the notes A, C and E. That's an A minor chord. It's quite a dark sound, sounds like this. There we go. If you want to make it have a bit of a more of a bright, positive sort of feel, then try the C chord, which is C, E and G. There we go. Now I'm going to make a pattern of chords. Mine is just going to go an A chord, and then I think I might see what sounds good next. I'm going to have a looping pattern of maybe just 2 chords on top of what I've already got. So I'm going to press play. I'm going to have a bit of a play around on my keyboard, my piano keyboard, starting with my A chord, and see what chord might sound good next. Here we go. So I'll start probably with an A chord. Then I'm going to try going to the F chord. Yeah, I think that kind of works. So I'm going to try my looping pattern as an A chord and then an F chord. That's what works with my song, but yours might be something different, but keep it simple. Just a couple of chords on a loop. When you think you've got it, press record. To record it in, I'm going to use this record button just up here. It'll count me in with a 1, 2, 3, 4 click, and then I'll be ready to go. Here we go. There we go. So I've recorded that in, and you can see it's drawn the notes in here. If I scroll around, I can see the actual notes I've drawn in. And the last thing you might want to do, as we did with the bass line, is to quantize them. To quantize your parts, remember you click and drag to select the notes, and then hit the Q, and that'll line everything up nicely on the beat, making sure that they all happen right at the start of each section. Now when you've done that, if you're not 100% sure about your sound, because it's recorded in, you could try what would that sound like with a bit of a different sound to it. Let's try it with this one, for example. There you go, I think I like that one even better. And you can finally loop it to get it repeating. You might find now that some things feel a bit too loud. I think that's a bit too loud. So using my volume control over here, I can turn that down a little bit and get it balanced with the other parts of my song. So there we go, that's adding a chord part. Again, as an extension, if you've done that and it's working quite well, you might try adding a new track, finding a new chord instrument and trying some new chords on top of what you've got already to make a different section of your song. There is how to make your chord part of your dance music track.